What I learned was center line, use the full numbers of center line and divide it off, difference on each side. No math. Most you can divide this in half and get a center line. Too much math. I used full numbers, 2 as the middle, coming over 5 boo and a half. There's 5 boo and a half, and all I'm doing is micro adjusting where those little half marks line up even on both sides. Then I mark 2 as the center. Right? I mean, why do you make this hard? I mean, you know, they've been doing this for so long, they worked out a lot of the kinks. But, you know, to get to that point, you got to work at it a while yourself. But a lot of this stuff makes sense. So I want to get a center line. Again, the first one I'd lay out by hand. Then if I'm going to transfer things, I use my Kabiki, which is a double beam marking gauge. One of the differences is it has sharp edges here. They cut wood. They make other single ones that you can split lumber with. A lot of the thin panels they make, they wouldn't resaw them. They split them from both sides and split them, crack them natural. Again, doing all this by hand, you get, you know, you watch these other guys from the old days. That's the same thing. You save your energy. So it says double beams, have little sharp angles on here. When you buy these things, what you got to look at and see is that the tips are square off the thing. Sometimes, lately, they've lost a little bit of their craftsmanship quality. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, you need to check and see that those 2 points are even. One's not longer than the other, because then you can't. You try to twist it over to get the other mark, and you lose your fence control. Easy enough to regrind them. I mean, these things. No big deal. I know Williams using this one had a cutter blade in it. So, you know, same thing. So what we're going to do here is first we got to lay out by hand. Then after I've got my dimensions, then I set this thing and it's going to mark. I can transfer this mark, this one for mortise and the tending, because I'm marking it off the back, which everything is flush. Normally things are laid off the center line, but this, because it's all flush in the back and the pieces aren't the same, I can do that, but I'm going to do this by hand. So when I'm looking here, I'm going back to the center line. Let's see, I got that one. I got that little guy right there. So, yeah, I'm going to find the center line. This I need to spread that center line out so it's more accurate. So there's the center line. Now when I draw that on there, I want to see that the square is parallel to the edge. So what you're doing with this process is you're building all these layers of accuracy. You do it one way, then you come back and do it another way and see if those points line up in the same point. You want to find out your mistakes in the layout. Once you got the layout and you trust your layout, then it's just sawing and chiseling. Just sawing and chiseling. That's a whole other thing. But, so there's the center line. Okay, so now I want to figure out what the tenon is here. So I can do, on this side I've got a 2.5 boo. So let's make that, if we do 4, which is about 1/2 inch. So I'm going 2 on each side of the center line. Let's go up here again. So there's the center line. There's 2, and there's 2. All right, so I got 2 lines there, and I got my 2 lines there, so I'm going to mark these up here. Now, usually you just mark where you want. You don't draw the whole line there. I mean, guys will tell you it's a waste of ink, but you know, ink's cheap. But so again, all these lines lay right on the surface, and when I get done, plane them all off, and it comes off clean. There's no marking. If you use a pencil. You need a pencil that leaves a line you can see. If you use a soft pencil, then the line's always getting bigger. When you use a hard pencil, you might as well be using a marking knife, especially on softwood. The real key about this thing is they make this ink, they make a white ink. So if you're working on walnut or something, you can use the white ink in this, and you get the same accuracy. You can actually see the line. You draw this ink on walnut, and you don't know where it is. So I was using like white colored pencil, crayon looking things. Well, to keep that edge sharp, didn't work. So I get the white ink. They also make a vermilion powder. It's a red-orange color. They use that on logs and things. That washes off. So if you're working on a log or something with texture, you can't use this because it won't wash off. You might use just charcoal powder and water. That washes off. They usually use that red vermilion powder. So we've got this, so that's starting to tell us here. So because we don't have any, we're going to end up cutting this off at the end, leaving this spur on. So usually the tenon is in the top half of that mortise because that gives you the mortise. Okay, well, let's go back to this.